Hi, hello everyone. This is Danny with Skin Harmonics, and I developed the very first Medi-Holistic skin resurfacing method and accompanying skincare line. And today I'm going to talk about what if we just have young and fabulous skin. Now, this does happen. I think that was me years ago. And that was definitely me years ago before I got all tripped up. Confused and turned around by conventional skincare methods. So this is everything I'm going to talk about today is all of the things if somebody in today's day and age was perfectly informed about all of the options that was available in skincare, in the world of skincare, like this, if I was to have a baby now in my 50s, this would be the skincare routine that I would get her on, basically, or him. So the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to just keeping young and fabulous skin is that the most important thing, and I might mention this several times, is just not participating in over cleansing and over exfoliation. And I know this is really hard because the whole industry is tuned to this refrain of how that's what we need to do. And the truth is that it's just like, it's a complete dead end. So there would be this minimal cleansing and minimal exfoliation approach. Now, that doesn't mean that our skin would be dirty and is dirty on this method at all. It just means that it's not over cleansed and stripped, and it's not over scrubbed, and which means that its native ability to release its own oil and congestion is optimized. So that is the opposite of dirty skin. And something that I discovered early on when I was experimenting wildly about all of this through my 20s with conventional skincare practices versus me developing my own is that there's this old misunderstanding that it's dirt and oil and bacteria that is creating skin issues, and it's not true. It's the practices, conventional practices, that perpetuate this problem. So there would be, in my dream program for my ideal situation, for somebody that just came to me and they were young and they were fabulous and didn't have any issues with their skin, it would be just to fall in line with not getting obsessed about cleansing and over exfoliating their skin, and steam, a little bit of oil, gentle washcloth makes a fantastic cleanser. And then, of course, just not participating in a chemical peel, microdermabrasion, microneedling, like just none of those exfoliation methods are needed. And what we've replaced that with instead is this obsession with dermal nutrients. So now, with the invent of this, these were invented about, I would say, 18 years ago by a medical doctor. They're patented. We can actually absorb nutrients through the surface of our skin topically, and that gives our dermal layer everything it needs to make new skin cells. So this is huge because this means we no longer have to traumatize our skin in order to get this continual, generous supply of new skin cells. So there would be this alignment of not over cleansing, not over exfoliating, doing very gentle cleansers, and then leaning into applying topical dermal nutrients. And of course, the hydration, using a hydration serum, and then doing full barrier restoration on a regular basis. So barrier restoration is basically just restoring our skin's natural acid mantle, supporting it, and giving it what it needs so that we actually trap water in our skin. There's been this old misunderstanding that oil causes our pores to be clogged, and it causes this whole like oil phobia thing, which is completely ridiculous. We need oils to trap water in our skin. They actually make a barrier so that all the water is held in our skin exactly where we want it, lifting up fine lines, holding our pore canals open, not sending our sebaceous glands into overdrive. Like, these are all things that are really important. And of course, skin that has a restored acid mantle and a supported barrier doesn't sunburn as easily. So there's like all these reasons to do hydration and barrier restoration, and they go together. So there would be this like me like really, getting these basics, drilled in of minimal cleansing, minimal exfoliation, maybe once a month using an enzyme only, and leaning into this hydration, dermal nutrient, and barrier restoration layering of products. And there would also be this sense of listening to our skin and never overstimulating it, never sending it into irritation or inflammation on purpose, but always trying to soothe it and always trying to support it in a way to where our skin is getting positive blood flow, but we're not crossing that line into something that's traumatic, like a sunburn is traumatic. Too much traditional over-the-counter retinols and prescription can be traumatic. All of the conventional procedures that I touched on a few minutes ago, those are traumatic. So there would always, and food allergies is traumatic. Like always this sense of how can we eliminate irritation on our skin. And that's why I have 3 different serums on my website to buy. One of them, they're all hydrating because that's universal, but one of them is specifically very soothing. And then the next one has a really good dose of dermal nutrients, and the third one has twice as much dermal nutrients. So there would be this teaching of and guiding of how you can listen to your skin with whatever it's going on, and kind of bounce between do you need to soothe your skin today, or do you need to just maintain a really lovely glow today, or do you want to actually correct some kind of issue or problem with even using the third serum Feast, which has a lot of dermal nutrients in it. And so there would be this like really listening to our skin so that we can follow it through its little adventures and not push it too hard, and then not let it get too bored, so that we can, but all along, like really, this continual supply of water and barrier restoration, and of course the dermal nutrients when they're appropriate. And then the next thing would be, vitamin C is kind of a no-brainer when it comes to skincare, and it would be about using that at night only. Vitamin C, when it's really potent, should only be used at night because it is stimulating. And then, like I just mentioned, there would be this use of an enzyme exfoliator once a month. And I say enzymes because chemical peels and the chemical elements that are in a lot of exfoliation, over time do all the things that I was just listing, but they're obsolete. Like we just don't need them anymore. So there would be this, we would use an enzyme, a really gentle enzyme instead, which would not over exfoliate our skin. And of course, my favorite way to exfoliate is when an enzyme is in a creamy pack, so that we get a reset of water levels as well. Most enzymes and exfoliators are in a gel, so they only do that one thing. Whereas if it's in a creamy pack and it's hard to find, you can get this like really, really incredible reset of moisture at the same time. So, and that's really important because that is our biggest goal, is how can we keep and hold on to water as long as possible so that those wrinkles don't start setting in. And then when it comes to wrinkles, the UV exposure is the biggest thing that destroys our collagen and elastin. And so there would be this use of like a really clean sunscreen and ways to deflect the sun on our face. We can still get vitamin D on our whole bodies, and we should, but high exposure areas like our face, our arms, our décolleté, our chest, we shouldn't overexpose areas that are going to get, more than average exposure anyways as we age. So I think if we all would agree at this point, like our moms were right. about this, if nothing else, that, sunscreen is important. And now we have clean sunscreens, which is something we didn't have, 10 years ago. So there's a lot of really good choices now, and even UV blocking serum that is available. So those are kind of, I know that kind of said a lot, because there's a lot in there about what we can do with our skin as far as with the basics. And then there would also be this understanding of how we need to help our skin release. Sometimes if it's chronically dehydrated or traumatized, it can't release the way that it's supposed to. So whiteheads get hard and get stored in our skin and turn into milia over time. Blackheads get compacted and buried and, become very problematic with texture. So there's all sorts of things that, like I said, dirt doesn't cause, oil doesn't cause. That's because our skin is shut down from chronic dehydration and trauma, that it's not naturally releasing these things on our own. And so there would be this extra help that we get our skin when it gets congested and just can't release on its own. Like, get in there and actually get a deep pore cleansing session. That's the only procedure that will actually affect texture, believe it or not. You can melt your skin, you can zap it, you can soak it with acids, you can do all sorts of things, but there's no substitute for really highly skilled professional extractions that does not cause scarring, because of the dermal nutrients that give our skin this ability to make, incredible new skin cells and do incredible wound healing like I've never seen before. So just to understand that that's something on the menu that you could ask for, because the default is to go into all of the things that I've listed before. And then, somebody who had just young and fabulous skin and, send this newsletter or pass this video on if it's not you, because these are all of the things that you should be doing for your skin as well. And if we do them sooner than later, it's even better, right? But there's a lot of extras that we can do for our skin. And that would be microcurrent. Like, I'm a huge fan of microcurrent. It's the only holistic way to build volume in our skin, and it increases skin health, which nothing else, injections don't increase skin health. But a microcurrent device does. It actually lifts and tones facial muscles, and it re-educates. It's also a re-education of facial muscles where it lifts them up and tones them in a really natural and beautiful way. And so that can be done as preventative. And these things that I'm going to list can also be combined. If you've already done all these things that I've been talking about, don't get too depressed about it. Reach out to me, because basically I know how we can transition you and how we can litigate some of the damage you might have done. But microcurrent device is huge on my list. I do sell a few specialty products that encourage stem cells. I have an adaptogen serum that I love. There's a niacinamide powder that I sell that is specific to sunspots. There's all of these things that we can do for young and fabulous skin. So let's see, I think I've kind of said it all. I want to try to keep this video short and to the point. Yeah, I mean, these are all things that you could be doing for your skin at any point. But if this is, I kind of touched on like everything in the kitchen sink to throw at skin, that these are things that you would be doing for your skin if it was in the worst shape. And it would be things that you would be doing if it was in the best shape, because they all work in that holistic way to prevent and reverse things and optimize everything so that problems don't happen. And then also, I guess my last piece of advice would be, if you're just young and fabulous and have great skin, at least get these basics that I mentioned down so that you can hold on to what you have longer and avoid some of these major pitfalls that I've seen so many people fall into. And then they get it's harder to get yourself out of it. And then also just to like go deeper, research more, keep an open mind when it comes to taking care of your skin, and try the Skin Harmonics method, and then just go deeper in general when it comes to your health, because it's in the end all we really have. So I think I hit the points that I'm thinking about, and I'm just going to wrap this up and get this out there to you guys. And I think it's actually playing now, I think. So that's good. I'll get it up on YouTube soon. And anyways, it was fun to talk to you guys about this, and reach out if you have any questions. All right. Bye, my friends. I thought I knew how to turn it off. Okay, there we go.